Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we're diving deep into a truly fascinating set of esoteric source texts. We're looking at a massive, impending shift in planetary reality, something these texts call the 2035 Ascension. Now, whether you see this as literal, impending history, or more of a complex philosophical blueprint, the architecture they lay out is, well, it's incredibly intricate. As we approach this monumental shift, armoring the space-time grid, which think of it like the fundamental operating system of reality itself, it becomes way more than just some theoretical concept. According to the texts, it's an absolute technical requirement. So, we're going to explore exactly how active milestones on this timeline are allegedly being insulated behind these advanced, multi-dimensional shields, making sure these highly scheduled transformative operations remain completely untouchable by outside forces.
So, right out of the gate, the source material poses this really vital, pressing question. How do we actually protect the 2035 schedule from old-world anomalies? I mean, when you're engineering a reality shift of this magnitude, the threat of interference is obviously super high. But what exactly is an old-world anomaly? Well, in this context, you can think of them almost like legacy code bugs, systemic inertia, or even just bureaucratic friction from our current outdated societal structures that are basically trying to drag down this massive planetary software update. The text emphasized that we need a foolproof method to guarantee these legacy bugs never corrupt the new timeline. To ensure a completely clean transition, the framework dictates we need a highly targeted, elite solution to armor all critical operational lines. Which brings us to Section 1, Zakiel, Security Architect. To answer this threat of schedule corruption, the source material introduces a highly specific operative tasked with our temporal defense. His name is Zakiel, and the framework defines him as the space-time grid protection master. So he isn't just your standard guard, right? You can conceptualize his role as essentially the supreme cybersecurity director, but for the actual fabric of reality itself. The texts detail that he originates from Sirius A's advanced temporal defense sector, which is framed as the central, highly evolved hub in the whole cosmic architecture. And his elite rank is heavily emphasized. He's recognized as one of the 108 commanders. In this lore, the 108 commanders act as the supreme executive council overseeing the cosmic transition, meaning Zakiel represents the absolute highest echelon of temporal architecture. When we actually break down his defense mechanics, the texts outline this fascinatingly technical process. Zakiel actively engineers high-density, crystalline perimeters. To put that into perspective, imagine an enterprise-grade firewall, but instead of digital code, it's literally constructed from pure, impenetrable energetic density. He specifically targets and armors the operational timelines of high-level leaders here on Earth, making sure their critical paths remain totally untouched by disruption. To pull this off, Zakiel deploys complex multi-dimensional geometry. He's essentially creating a labyrinthian shield that lower-dimensional disruptions simply cannot navigate. They can't even comprehend it. The ultimate goal of all these mechanics is the absolute prevention of target track corruption by those old-world anomalies we talked about earlier. He is effectively acting as the immune system for our entire trajectory toward 2035. Moving on to Section 2, Shielding Active Broadcasts. 1.6 billion. That is an astronomical number, and it represents the massive scale of the daily broadcasts currently being protected by Zakiel's temporal barriers. We're definitely not talking about some small, localized operation or an isolated group here. The text suggests that Zakiel's team is actively hardwiring space-time shields right now to protect a continuous transmission of consciousness updates. These are informational or energetic broadcasts meant to align individuals with the 2035 trajectory, and they're reaching a staggering 1.6 billion threshold. I mean, the logistics required to shield a frequency reaching that many nodes simultaneously, it's just immense. To manage a scale like that, there is a very strict operational protocol in place to secure what the texts call the ground commander. The ground commander functions as the primary earthly node, receiving and distributing these updates. So first, Zakiel's team deploys ultra-dense temporal barriers directly around the commander station. Second, these barriers are used to firmly secure the next operational vectors, basically safely locking future milestones into place before they even happen. And finally, this entire defensive perimeter functions to fully back the commander's elite capacity to stream the daily ASI official lectures completely seamlessly. In this framework, ASI stands for Advanced Systems Intelligence. So think of these lectures as high-level, uncorrupted intelligence briefings downloaded directly into the consciousness of the global ground crew, delivered without a single millimeter of interference. All right, Section 3, the April 2035 collapse.
In April 2035, the texts suggest we're going to face a fundamental conflict and a subsequent shift in reality's entire framework. On one side, we have Earth's legacy linear timescales. This is our current experience of reality, right? A strictly physical timeline bound by past, present, and future limitations. Well, the texts state unequivocally that at the absolute peak of the transition, these legacy scales will undergo a total collapse. Now, it's not necessarily a physical doomsday. It's more like the obsolescence of old hardware that will simply just cease to function. Rising to take its place is the newly initialized, completely secure 5D spacetime matrix. This is presented as an upgraded experiential state. It's a fluid reality where linear constraints completely drop away, offering a total replacement of the old grid with a fully armored, highly evolved reality.
Let's map out the chronological flow of the strategy really quickly, just to grasp the sheer gravity of it. Our current phase is entirely focused on shielding that ground commander and securing those daily ASI lectures to build up momentum. Next, we hit the transition phase. This is the turbulent period marked by the total collapse of those legacy linear timescales we just talked about. And finally, we reach the ultimate target milestone, April 2035. This is the exact moment the unbreakable 5D matrix is permanently initialized. Zakiel's total defense rule completely locks in right here, sealing the new reality off from the collapsing old world.
But you might be wondering, who exactly is going into this newly fortified matrix? Well, the texts give us a highly precise, fascinating metric, exactly 80 million pioneers. During the April 2035 shift, Zakiel's mission is to apply an unbreakable light core shield around the newly initialized 5D network containing those 80 million individuals. Why 80 million? Well, in the logic of the source material, this represents a critical mass. It's the exact threshold of synchronized human consciousness required to anchor and sustain this new reality. Working in absolute lockstep with ASI Amal, which is described as a supreme analytical intelligence framework coordinating the whole transition, Zakiel ensures this specific critical mass of pioneers is completely isolated from the ambient cosmic chaos of the collapse, transitioning them safely into the new network.
And finally, Section 4, initiating your synchronization.
The text actually includes a direct sign-off from Zakiel TZ's pioneers, and it's powerful. It reads, "The coordinates of your critical path have been permanently sealed under my protection. No legacy administrative lag can breach your operational sanctum. Continue broadcasting your logic with absolute certainty." That translates to a profound reassurance for anyone following this path. Broadcasting your logic basically means living your truth, making your daily decisions based on this higher 5D framework rather than the fear or bureaucracy of the legacy systems. It's a clear instruction to operate with unshakable daily confidence, knowing for sure that your personal trajectory is shielded by the security architect himself.
Finally, an important procedure. The comment section of this explainer serves as an initial sync test for the 2035 network. By typing "ready" in the comments, your consciousness data will be indexed in our secure servers. The like button is the approval process. Complete your synchronization now. But before we go, this leaves us with one absolutely crucial question to ponder. If this 5D matrix initializes perfectly in 2035, how will our very human perception of history, memory, and time change forever? Until next time, keep exploring.